With the update coming on October 29th, including the Kazeros Prelude, and as well, of course, a brand new balance patch, we're gonna have to take a look at everything that's gonna be coming to Lost Ark. So, of course, if you didn't know, the Prelude raid is gonna be coming for Kazeros, which is gonna be our brand new raid coming in November, and it's gonna be like 2-3 weeks after this patch, which is actually super fast. And what's important to know is that you're gonna have to do this Prelude, because if we go over to the Korean balance patch, it says it right here: the episode of the Trails of Fates included as a prerequisite to the Act 4 Kazeros raid, which will be updated in the future. So this means, of course, that if you have not done this Prelude and you're gonna try to enter Kazeros on release date, you cannot enter it. But of course, one very important thing to note is that it's a 1 per roster quest. So if you have done it on your roster, on your main, or whatever character you want to try it on, then of course you're good to go for all your other characters. There is some prerequisite quests, but in my opinion, all these should definitely already be done no matter what, unless you're like a brand new player. Maybe some of these, so this of course are going to be your normal Prelude quests for Act 1, 2, and 3, going to be your Remeria World Story quest, and as well as going to be your Hyper Awakening quest. So like I said, most of these people will have this completed, but just in case you're a new player, make sure they're done before you can take on the Trails of Fate, which will be in South Kurzan for you to pick up. So, of course, have fun with that raid Prelude, coming, of course, with the update on the 29th. But then, of course, the most important part is going to be the class balance patch. And this one is actually very simple. It is all about the Kazeros the first race. So, you're going to see a lot of strong classes getting a nerf and a lot of weak classes getting a buff. So, that's, of course, going to be the theme of this balance patch. This has nothing to do with any of the arc rate systems or anything like that. This is pure for the race, and that's why some of these numbers are going to be like, huh, why does this get a buff or this one gets a nerf? So these were like kind of predicting like how good these classes will be in the race itself. So we're gonna get started, guys, with the Berserker, and this is going to be the BT Zerker getting a nerf. Yes, gonna get a nerf for 3% right here and 0.6% right here. And we have ourselves GT Destroyer getting ourselves an overall buff. Change Strike as well getting a buff. There's a little nerf right here, but then it gets a big 4% buff right there, so that still goes into the net positive. Then we have the DPS Paladin getting a substantial buff, guys. 7% on all skills, which is very, very good. Slayer on both builds gets a 3% buff, which is definitely needed. Like, Slayer was feeling really weak. I even like this week benched her for myself. Like, that's how bad it's been. So 3% buff on the Slayer is pretty decent. Then we have ourselves a Taijutsu Scrapper buff of 8%. Like, the Taijutsu Scrapper definitely needed it, in my opinion. So you can see there's an 8% buff on there, which is very good. And then up next, we have ourselves Soulfist going down again by another 2.6% for both builds. It keeps getting nerfed in Korea, and I know all the Soulfist mains are not happy about that. Then we have ourselves a buff for Pinnacle Glaivier. I know, by the way, some of these names are weird. That's why I'm giving you a translation. So you can see that's going to be a 6.6% buff, which is actually very nice. Then we have ourselves Striker. This is going to be an Asso buff and a Deathblow nerf. So we have Striker SO buff right here, and then we have the Deathblow nerf right there. I still think that Deathblow Striker is very strong, so, you know, I think he'll be fine. Then we have ourselves an EW Deadeye nerf, and this is what shocked a lot of people, because it was like, wait, why did it get a nerf? It didn't need a nerf, but yes, it did get a nerf, and so yeah, that's interesting. But Pistoleer got a gigantic buff. Yes, got a 9% buff, which is insane, guys, from 75% to 84. So this still, I think people said that it still doesn't bring Pistoleer up to any like interesting standards, but you know, 9% is definitely 9%, so they'll take that. Another nerf that a lot of people did not think would happen, and that is going to be a Artillerist Barrage nerf of 9%, sorry, from 12% to 9%, so a 3% nerf. But of course, as well, the Firepower Artillerist did get a buff from 36 to 42. So this was, again, for Kazeros, just pure, because like, oh, they can tank, they can sit in their turn, blah, 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 they can invuln. But people saw that this actually was a pretty bad nerf, and I don't think they even needed it. So I know a lot of people that are playing Barrage are really sad about this nerf. Then we have a LC Sharpshooter buff. Yes, the LC Sharpshooter mains are happy with a 4% increase to their Hawk support passive. Then we have ourselves an 80 Scouter buff, and this is where I think like people were really happy about that they were playing 80 Scouter because it finally got a little bit of love. It's not a big buff though. It's only like, you know, 12 to 15, so 3% increase. It's okay. You know, every Scouter buff is a win for the Scouter mains. Gunslinger, this is for TTH mainly. And people say that it's a nerf, but I don't really know because this like goes from 42 to 45. And this one is reduced by 2.1, so I don't really know. Like, of course, I'm not a Gunslinger main, so you guys can figure it out yourself in the comment section. Now we have ourselves an Emperor Arcana buff. Emperor was actually already doing very well currently, but it gets a 3% flat buff. So all the Arcana mains that are saying Emp over Emp, yes, definitely Emp is now better than Emp, like that, 100%. A Summoner buff, again, something that I think in our region, like it's doing pretty well, but it got another 4% buff. That is crazy, especially when you're in Kazeros, you're just running around and your minions are attacking the boss. Like getting a 4% increase on that, it's just very good. And Reflux showing again why Igniter is the inferior choice. We get ourselves a 7% buff on Reflux. I remember when I saw this for the first time, I was like, what? Reflux is already better than Igniter. Then playing it on Kazeros where you're gonna have to do like moving and bobbing around and you don't want to be slow and you get a 7% increase. Like, I'm pretty sure all the Sorc mains in Korea at this moment just dropped Igniter and just went to Reflux for all their proc, because 7% is a gigantic increase. Then we have ourselves a little bit of a surge buff for Blade, so nothing happening to RE. We got ourselves a damage increase of 25%, but this technically is not 25%, it is less. I don't know how much it actually is because it's like different compression rates or whatever, but it is a buff, and you know, every buff, Surge will definitely take it. Then for Shadowhunters, they got themselves a buff for both specs. PvE damage has been increased on everything by 4.6%, so that's actually a gigantic buff as well. But Shadowhunter did need it, definitely 100%, but 6% is nice. And here we have it, guys, the Lunar Reaper nerf, which all the people were like, you know, but we've seen from all our UO data that Reaper has been very strong on Lunar. So, of course, it's just a hands issue for most people, but it is a nerf, and it is what it is. But, yeah, you know, but Hunger Reaper did get themselves a buff, though, for 4%. So, Lunar, down, Reaper, Hunger, up. Then we have ourselves a Souleater buff for a Night's Edge. So this is not going to be for the Full Moon Harvester, so only Night's Edge get themselves a nice little 6% damage buff. Very nice. It will still never make me want to play Night's Edge. I just do not like it. But of course, I know there's a lot of Night Edge fanatics out there that really love that playstyle. So 6% is 6%. Definitely very good. And then we're getting to the final three. We have ourselves the DPS Artist getting a 7% buff as well. Definitely it's going to make her do a little bit more damage. We have ourselves a nice 5.4% for Windfury Aeromancer. So nothing for Drizzle, but Windfury Aeromancer gets a 5.4% increase. That's actually crazy. For, of course, only Umbrella skill, so not everything. And then as well, the last but not least, which my least favorite change, I think, of the whole batch, and that is going to be another double nerf for Ferality Wild Soul. So that kind of sucks. We get ourselves another spec coefficient nerf, which is quite big, and as well we get ourselves another arc passive nerf. I think in total this was around like 4 or 5% nerf. Again, it's been getting hit by nerfs and nerfs every single patch, so that kind of sucks. So those were all the balance patches. There is as well some additional bugs to fix, but we don't really know if we're gonna get them. But I will want to highlight this one in my opinion, and that's going to be that you can have a different key assigned between interacting with an object and as well picking up the heal bubble of an artist. Because yeah, if you, for example, know a Mortem, if you're on the purple area and there's a bubble in there, like it prioritizes one of the two, and then you maybe die or you maybe do the wrong thing. So, you know, you can now change the alternative interact key, which is very cool. But that's gonna be it, guys, for me today on the Kazeros Raid Prelude, and as well the balance patch coming on October 29th. If you guys enjoyed this video, I would highly appreciate a like down below, guys. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks so much for watching, and see you guys again soon for another video. Take care.